So I'm beginning to sort detailed through a lot of my findings, ones that are found in the same geometry, the same material, the same shape. A lot of people have asked me, well, what's the easiest way to start finding artifacts? Well, along the East Coast, and right through the Plain States and through the Ohio Valley and through the Tennessee Valley, Mississippi Valley, these are all interlinked gigantic watershed systems. There's thousands of rivers and creeks and streams, and they were kind of like the highways back in the day. Um, Most of the creeks, better native creeks that flow off of the Delaware or the Susquehannock or the Schuylkill, they're all Indian place names, Native American place names, as well as all the tributaries of these creeks. So if they have an Indian place name, they were named by Native Americans. Of course, a lot of these words have become westernized, bastardized, kind of just linguistically the representation of the sound they heard for the place. But the easiest way is to find things that are symmetrical, and they've always stuck out to me like a sore thumb in nature. To remember, we classify things by materials and material cultures. What material, what style, what tools in this time period were they using? And the material is a good way to start separating things. Were they using quartz? Were they using soapstone? How were they designing their arrows? So this is just a short video on a small breakdown of a few of the smaller items that may go unnoticed. You have to remember, stone was the material of the day. So everything was stone, wood, leather, sinew, or pitch, or pottery, which is another form of stone, honestly. So pottery is a great way to figure out who you're dealing with from what time, if you can find some. It's hard to find. Northeast, the woodland tribes didn't use very much pottery. Most of the pottery we see was brought in from the Tennessee Valley culture, the Adena culture, Hopewell. So there's obviously a transmission of culture as this group that we call the Proto Susquehannock, or the Susquehannock, moved across from the Tennessee, Ohio Valley, and even from southern states as they came up and conquered more of the Northeast. But these are all little small tools. So I call the Susquehannock the people of the triangle, because everything they crafted projectile point wise was very triangular. Whether these are preforms or these were pieces, tokens, or offerings left, or it was a manufacturing site, because all the materials are there in this place. I often look for hill cane or native bamboo growing near deposits. I look for perennial crops that are native, like hemp or beans, or roots like wild carrot. Things like this that still are coming up from where it was cultivated so many hundreds and hundreds of years ago, maybe even thousands of years ago. If you find all of these groupings along a deposit in a stream, you're probably going to find a lot of artifacts. There were millions and millions and millions of people along just the coast, Native Americans, different tribes, different federations, before the Europeans even made contact. They were killing at war for thousands and thousands of years, evolving their own higher cultural practices, their own sophistications within their communities, their own wars, their own tribal boundaries. So a lot was going on before occupation. Literally, they were killing each other for thousands and thousands of years, the Native Americans. There's a war between the Iroquois tribes and the tribes of the South, the Algonquins, the Delawares, and they all hated each other. Susquehannocks were a unique group of people that in language and custom resembled the Iroquois a bit, but had a lot of their own stuff going on. So all these little tools I found in the same area. We've got files, we've got pokers, we've got little spearheads. All of these things were different tools used to complete different tasks. Poking holes in leather, filing wood down, drilling, a lot of little drill type design pieces here. But you start to see in pattern, you find one thing this shape, okay, maybe nature made it. But if you start finding the same shape and the same object made in the same material over and over again, it's a tool of some sort. Now, I have thousands and thousands of pieces in my collection. It's hard to fathom. So sorting them is very important to me. And that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing. But these are some of the smalls, some of the less detailed smalls, whether they be preforms or just some of these may even be spiritual offerings. But I believe a lot of these are preforms, which are literally like a production line where they knock out a bunch of like the general shape and material, and then later they'll go back and notch it out and do the fine work. But these triangular shaped arrowheads are sometimes the older ones are fluted and they're almost fulsome, or Clovis in some cases, but generally they're just flat across the bottom, extremely triangular, and then it seems they take a little notch in the middle of that triangle, or a little swerve, almost make a stem to attach it. And these points were clearly meant to go into something and not come out. The shaft might have come out, but the head was staying in you. These were these triangular mid to small size points were war points. And then there's tools that I don't even quite sure what they were used for, and they're the coolest ones. Scrapers, pokers, different types of undetermined points, because we've never seen their style before. We get a lot of broadhead design almost, where the point is three-dimensional, but the backside is flattened or sloped. Get a lot of pyramid-shaped rocks made out of harder material. I don't know if they were little splitters for splitting firewood, or they were pendants, or they were weights for fishing, hooks for fishing. There's a lot of crescent activity in the paleo layers. So you get a lot of these crescent design tools. They're either blades or fish hooks, or they're a lot of them could also be atlatl spurs for holding in the actual atlatl, or the spear, or the projectile that the atlatl was throwing. And we'll get into the atlatl and the preserved wooden atlatl handle I found in a mud deposit, which is probably my most exciting find, because that can actually be carbon dated. So anyway, stick with me. If you want to find arrowheads, find a creek with a Native American name and search the big sandy banks and search them near the old trails, because the fishing holes that were there today are the fishing holes that were there in the past. The old ancient deer trails that became paths for the natives that follow the creeks, you'll find arrowheads, or you'll find tools. You might not find pristine museum quality pieces or things that'll blow your mind, but I probably have a couple hundred of those that are that high quality over the thousands that I've found. But to me, the more important thing is the patterns and how they tell a story, and the similarity between the tools and the materials. That's what tells us who, when, and where, when we don't have any real geological or archaeological time references. When you're searching creeks, Mother Nature controls what layer is on top. Anyway, if you have any questions, I hope you enjoy the video. Like I said, 95% of my collection is all from the same stream. 5% of it are from other streams, which are in separate containers and areas. Very different stylistically when you go from an area that was inhabited by the Susquehannocks. You can see the layers of war. You can see their tools mixed with the killing tools of the Algonquin and Lenape tribes of the Delaware. You can see that they were fighting. This probably occurred 400 or 500 years before the Beaver Wars, all the way up through the Beaver Wars. So definitely a conquest, but then if you go and you check out streams that are more linked to the Delaware, more east of where I am, even closer to New Jersey, you don't find a lot of the Susquehannock stuff. You find mainly Delaware, Lenape, and Algonquin style tools. So we can almost see the path they took from where they came from to push and to war and raid against all these other tribes, the Susquehannock and the Proto Susquehannock. All right, well, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you continue your passion hobby for tool finding, creek walking, and we just don't know. Like I said, I'll show you some tools specifically one day that are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, Ice Age or prior type stuff that shouldn't be here. Stuff that could change the understanding of our existence and how old we are as a people, and also help explain the race of human-like people that once roamed America, the North American Neanderthal, the Denisovan race. They're kind of in the Mesolithic, Neolithic, and older, the time periods we just don't know a ton about. And I think these were the leftover race that built all the megalithic monuments around the world. These people were bigger, stronger, and had bigger brains that could do way more than we could. The theory is that over time, through either interbreeding, genetic disparity, this group started to die off or sicken or weaken. But the belief is that after their downfall, and there were still just pockets of these people left, or these people that were more genetically like the Denisovans, they became the rulers and leaders of the tribes. They were worshipped almost as demigods or godlike people. And that's what are buried in those mounds. The giant rulers, and apparently the Susquehannock were all very big and strong athletically, at least to all the Europeans. They were claimed to stand between 6.5 and 7.5 feet tall, and 6.5 feet alone back then would be considered a giant. So, yeah, we call it the elite hypothesis. But who knows? That'll be proven out. We need to find the caves, because a lot of these tools are made by cave people, not people that came later. A race that we don't want to acknowledge that was here, but we need to find where they lived. These people weren't living in longhouses or wigwams or teepees or huts. They were living in caves. So that is my next quest, to find the caves in the area of the stream and hopefully unlock some closed up vault that's been locked up for thousands of years. All right. Well, I'm signing off. Have a good one, everyone.